Look, I don't have a skit or an intro. I'm kind of at a loss for words. So what I decided to do was just show you guys my Halloween costume. Do you get it? I'm a blind referee. Ha ha. Do you get it? Before we get into the video, I just want to remind you guys that I have some new Miami themed shirts on the merch store, and you can check them out by clicking the top link down in my description. I really think that this is some of the most unique Canes game day gear on the market. You're gonna love them. What's going on, Canes fans? Man, I always try to do all these funny, goofy skits, and that literally just broke the skateboard off of my wall. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to play with y'all. Like, it actually snapped the holder off of the freaking wall. So, you know, that's what I get for trying to be funny, I guess. But real quick, before we get into this one, I do want to let you know that the Coach Coop merch is all 20% off right now up until Halloween. All you need to do is head over to my shop by clicking the top link in the description and use code word pumpkin. Yes, code word pumpkin, and you will get 20% off of anything on the Coach Coop merch store. You know, come on now. Hey, listen, I know we might be down and out right now, but you know you want one of the hurricane warning tees. I mean, there's some of these shirts that might possibly be limited edition. They might only be around for the 2022 season. So now would be the perfect opportunity to pick one up. So here's the deal. The Miami Hurricanes are bad. I know this. You know this. Everyone knows this. However, Virginia is just a little bit worse. Now, don't get me wrong. I always say on this channel that winning is better than losing at the end of the day. And I would much rather be 4-4 right now than 3-5. But a 14-12 victory in quadruple overtime typically will not receive a lot of praise, especially whenever you realize that the entire game was nothing but field goals except for the final play of the game in that quadruple overtime. This was quarterback Jake Garcia's first start, and let's just all be honest here. It wasn't really anything special or spectacular. I mean, he got the job done, I get it, but if this game would have been against FSU, we would have lost by 50 plus. Now, does all of it fall on Jake Garcia? Of course not, guys. You can't just point the finger at one single person or position group or coach. There's issues all around. But I personally feel like that Josh Gaddis, anyways, at least this afternoon, was playing not to lose instead of playing to win. Way too conservative. Now, is there possibly a reason why he game planned specifically that way for this game, or why he called that type of game this afternoon? Possibly. Maybe. I don't know. And it was very interesting because so far up until this point, Josh Gaddis has been calling plays from the booth. And for some reason this afternoon, he decided to call the plays from the sideline. I don't know if this was his decision. I don't know if it was Mario Cristobal's decision. But my guess would be that maybe it's because it was Jake Garcia's first start. So that would provide him, you know, kind of some more one-on-one time to get direct feedback from the quarterback and actually talk with him down on the sideline. So, you know, he wasn't necessarily as isolated by being up in the booth. That's just my guess. I could be right. I could be wrong. But let's jump into some positive and negative takeaways from this game. And just keep in mind, guys, that this is my initial post-game reaction. So I'm filming this immediately after the game wraps up. So there could be a couple little things, some numbers and stuff that I might be off just a tad. So just keep that in mind. And sometimes I tend to overreact in these. But what I'm going to do is start with some negative takeaways so we can try to end on a positive note. So getting into the bad, I'm just going to be blunt. We are flat out boring on offense and defense. We just don't take enough chances. It seems like that we're always playing it safe. Now, don't get me wrong. If we were winning all of our games, nobody would be complaining about boring football. It wouldn't matter. The problem is we're not, and it's definitely creating an issue, and it's a big problem. It's not that it's just boring to watch, which, by the way, it absolutely is. There were people in my live stream saying, yo, Coop, I just woke up, like, I fell asleep for 30 minutes to an hour because I was bored to tears watching us play this game. The problem is it's not just boring to watch, but it's also not very effective. On offense, we literally needed one big play. Somebody to turn something, anything, into a touchdown. Where's that screen that looks like it's going to go for 2 to 3 yards, but then we bust out a touchdown? Where's that run from Henry Parrish where it looks like it's going to be a loss, but then he hits the B button? Some of you guys get the reference, you know, kicks a little spin to the outside and takes it to the house. We just don't see that. No explosiveness, no home run potential. And it's very tough and frustrating to watch. And again, talking about Jake Garcia for a moment, 15 of 29 for 125 yards this afternoon. I can promise you that won't win us any other game on our schedule for the rest of the season. And like I said, it's not putting all the blame on him, but he would definitely need to step up if he's going to play any more games throughout the season, because I still don't know the extent of TVD's injury. And now what Canes fans are doing is they're all calling for Ja'Cory Brown, the third string quarterback, or I mean, at least up to this point, that's what we believe anyways. And I'm telling you guys that Ja'Cory Brown is also not going to fix this offense. TVD won't fix it and make it look great. Jake Garcia will not fix it and make it look great. There are much deeper problems and issues with this offense. And it's also not just coaching, guys. There's so many things. And it's very discouraging to say that out loud, but it's the truth. And I do have to put out a disclaimer and say that I was one of the people that wanted to see Jake Garcia a little earlier in the season when TVD was struggling, but it's because I felt like we needed a vocal leader at the quarterback position. It wasn't me saying that all of a sudden Jake would fix the offense. That right now just swapping out quarterbacks is not going to fix it, period. It just won't. And boy, let me tell you, I'm glad that Garcia made it into the end zone on that final play in the fourth overtime, because he had Brantley wide open, but for some reason, he decided to not throw it. So I don't know if he didn't trust his own arm. I didn't know if he didn't trust Brantley to catch it. But dude was wide open. Now, again, you know, he still made it into the end zone, so we still won the game. I can't necessarily complain a whole lot. But there were multiple times throughout the game, even though offensively we were struggling, there were times that guys were wide open and Garcia just didn't look their way. But moving on from Jake Garcia, because I still believe in a lot of the guys in our quarterback room, but we got to figure something else out. We could also talk about the game day coaching. I feel like there were some poor decisions when it came to game management, and that's something that Mario Cristobal is, well, just being honest, is known for. And it doesn't seem like it's improving much here at Miami. I do also think that after it was all said and done, quarterback Brennan Armstrong rushed for almost 70 yards against our defense. Mobile QBs continue to be our worst nightmare, and there's no solution in sight. And can we please talk about our third and long defense? I can't believe that I'm saying this, but I would rather it be 3rd and 2 as opposed to 3rd and 14, because it seems like when it's 3rd and long, that's when we always give up the big chunk yardage plays to the opposing team's offense. But then all of a sudden, we find a way to buckle down once they make it into the red zone and we force them to settle for field goals. So I don't know what is going on with the defense in those situations, but it is so frustrating to watch. Every time a 3rd and long situation popped up, I was holding my breath. Instead of being excited, I knew we were probably about to give up a big play. But let's move on and take a look at a couple of positive takeaways from this game, because you guys know I will just go on and on and on. There's not enough time in this video for me to discuss everything that I want to. So please, once again, help me out down in the comment section below and let me know some additional points that you noticed in the game, some of your takeaways, both positives and negatives. But let's look at a couple of the positives, because yes, there were some. I must say that we've got to clap it up for both of our kickers, Headley and Borregales, and especially for Borregales, because he went 4 for 4 today with his field goals. And you know, if you remember last year, this game was very personal for him, and he came out and he hit every single one of them. The D-line also continues to be a strength on our defense. They had roughly 11 tackles for loss and 5 sacks this afternoon. And the defense held Virginia to just 96 total yards of offense in the first half. And a lot of that was due to the D-line. Also, the sideline was much more animated than this one. Guys were much more vocal. They were getting involved, getting in each other's faces. And you guys know that I preach on this channel that body language is very important to me. And I actually liked what I saw on the sidelines this afternoon, both from the players and the coaching staff. So that is a step in the right direction in that department. Also, 0 turnovers in this one. Now, I know Jake Garcia threw the pick in overtime, but I don't think that they officially put that down on the stat sheet. So technically, 0 turnovers in this one. And when compared to 8 turnovers last week, hey, you can't really complain with that, right? I must say, though, that I'm still really worried about the lack of overall consistency with this team. And what I mean by that is the only thing we seem to be consistent in is consistently picking something different each week that we really mess up. I'm talking like big time, like no touchdowns, 17 penalties, 8 turnovers. There will always be mistakes made in football games, guaranteed. They're human too. The issue is it seems like we always pick some sort of category, something, and we mess it up to the extreme. But let's go ahead and jump over to ESPN.com and take a quick look at the stats to wrap this thing up. And we're mostly going to take a look at Miami because we're not that worried about Virginia. We done took care of business. It was a close one, but it's said and done. So let's take a look at what Miami accomplished in this one. And some of these numbers are very surprising, to say the least. 17 total first downs for Miami this afternoon, 5 of 17 third down efficiency. I don't expect that to improve anytime soon. It's just something that we have to deal with. What really will blow your mind is 272 yards of total offense in this one, compared to 327 for Virginia. Again, the battle of 2 coastal teams that are just absolutely struggling. It's just facts. 125 passing yards, 147 rushing. Now, one of my keys to a victory in my preview video was that we had to hit triple digits in the run game, and thankfully we were able to do that this afternoon. That was big time. 5 penalties for 22 yards, not terrible. Again, technically 0 turnovers, and won the time of possession. Now, when we look at some individual stats, Jake Garcia, 15 of 29, 125, again, 0 touchdown passes. We're going to continue probably to see more Ja'Curry Brown. He did actually attempt a few passes, but didn't really have any luck. In the run game, he fared a little bit better. Parrish led the way, 24 carries for 113 yards. Again, though, no touchdowns in this game. Ja'Curry Brown, 5 for 28. We got to see the UAB transfer. Lucius Stanley, 3 for 18. We saw no Rooster. We saw no Thad. There are some rumblings, some rumors, some other things going down with all that, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. We'll save that. That's a talk for another day. Colby Young led the way with receptions, 5 for 46. I will say, though, I'm seeing an issue here where, you know how we said that TVD tended to lean on Xavier Restrepo? Like that was his go-to receiver and he didn't look anyone else's way. I'm seeing some of that with Jake Garcia and Colby Young. There were so many times that he only looked Young's way and didn't go through any more of his progressions. And I know that the O-line is struggling, so, you know, maybe he's feeling some pressure there. But even when he had more of a clean pocket and he had time, like I said, he was missing some guys that were wide open and he was only looking to Colby Young. I know he's a big body, reliable receiver. We got to spread the ball around, man, because we're not going to win football games that way. Mallory, 3 for 22. Richard, 2 for 16. Restrepo did have a catch, but he was on limited snaps this afternoon. Again, coming off the foot injury, you don't want him to re-aggravate that. Hopefully, he can have an impact in the Florida State game. We'll see. Ladson 1 for 10. Got a couple guys with some single catches as well. Defensively, Agude leading with total tackles. LT continues to ball out, man. We have to find a way to keep that guy on the field as much as freaking possible. We did have 5 sacks on the day as well. And again, the kicking game continued to kill it, man. Headley did well with pinning them deep. Couple missed opportunities with that, but that wasn't on Headley. The ball placement was fine. We just didn't have guys down there to take care of business. So, man, it's always interesting to do these post-game videos when it's a win, but it kind of felt like a loss. So, you know what I mean? Like, you can't really brag about it, but you're happy still that we won instead of lost. It's a very weird situation and scenario to be in, but it's where we find ourselves as Canes fans. And, man, I'm just hoping this can maybe provide some momentum for the team going into the Florida State game because, oh, boy, oh, boy, are we going to need it. But we're not going to get into that just yet. We'll get into that next week. Again, I'll be in Miami for the Miami versus Florida State game, doing a meetup at Caneswear the Friday night before. So I would love to see you guys there, 5 to 7 p.m., giving away some free wristbands to you guys. And, you know, I'm going to enjoy the vibe, the atmosphere. Either way, hanging out with my college football family, regardless of what the outcome is of that game. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll talk about that this week. Remember, though, guys, we're all one big happy college football family. But at the end of the day, I gotta say, it's always better when you get to rep the U. Man, I'm gonna go hang my skateboard back up on the wall, I guess. Coach Coop, peace out.